Waiting. Being patient doesn't come naturally to a lot of us. It doesn't come naturally to me, anyways. The idea of waiting is a challenge. When you're in between something, and you know what you're moving towards, but you haven't quite got there yet, it can feel like a world torn apart in your soul. You're not who you are, but you're not who you were. You don't have what you want, but you don't have the baggage that you used to have. There's all kinds of in-between that we can live with, all kinds of in-between that we struggle with. The Bible says in Proverbs 13:12 that hope deferred makes a heart grow sick. And for the longest time, that's all I could see of that passage. But the second part of it is longing fulfilled as a tree of life. Our hearts can grow very sick when hope is deferred, when it's put off, when it seems like it's tomorrow. We're swallowed up by our past, convicted by the sins of the past, the difficulty of the past. Sometimes we're chained by it and we don't move beyond, and we're stuck. And sometimes we hope so far out in the future that we start, what's called magical thinking. And we just think, oh, everything is going to be wonderful tomorrow. Everything's going to be great if I can just get there. But in the meantime, we have a today that's drying up. We have a today that's not being tended or cared for. Hope deferred makes the heart grow sick, a longing that we have that is not fulfilled. It could be like an unrequited love. It can be, a job you're waiting for. It can be something that you're hoping beyond hope will happen. And we're stuck in this moment right now. So what do? Well, I can tell you that from waiting and waiting and waiting, you start to find coping mechanisms. And magical thinking is one of them, where you just project out and you think fantastical thoughts of the future, or even of the moment, to try and make yourself feel like something's different. We can lose friends because we're so stuck in the future. We can lose friends if we're so stuck in the past. But rarely do we get stuck in the present because we're always thinking from one perspective or the other. Maybe we do get stuck in moments now and then where it's in the present time, here and now. Maybe we do get stuck into a longing that we can never see, and so we're in the moment, shuffling our feet. Maybe we get to a place where it's so hard to move on that we need people to help us. I know for a fact that when we look at the Bible, we can get wisdom that we need. We can get belonging and understanding for our moments, and hope for our future, and reconciliation for our past. If hope deferred makes a heart grow sick, then a longing fulfilled truly is a tree of life. And here's the thing about trees, is that when they grow up, they can bring shelter to many. If it's a fruit tree and it bears fruit, it can be food to many. And when a fruit is taken apart and the seeds are found, they can be planted. And more trees, more shade, more food can be made for many. But it takes a while to grow a tree. I don't know if you've ever tried it. I remember when I was young and I first wanted to start gardening. I went out and I planted seeds. My mom showed me how. And I went back the next day thinking, well, where's the cucumber? Where's the tomato? They should be here. I didn't have that understanding that it takes time. It takes time for the soil to be proper, for the sunlight to be proper, for the watering, which is something we have to do on a daily basis. To make sure things are watered and tended and cared for in the present, so that in the future, when the fruit comes, when the vegetables come, we can eat of that harvest and we know where it's come from. But it takes a while. Now, waiting is painful. It's difficult. Sometimes lonely, because sometimes we wait for things that nobody else knows about. Some internal thing in our heart. Maybe it's a waiting for a change in our personality, and then every now and then something sneaks up on us and rears its ugly head, and we realize we still have work to be done. Maybe it's waiting for that job that you've always wanted, a longing to be somewhere else. And in our present, well, that's where our sacrifices happen. There's an old saying that says, wherever you are, be fully there. And I think that's an important one to remember while we're waiting. Wherever you are, be fully there. We may not have tomorrow. We certainly do not have yesterday. That's long gone. And we can't time jump to skip off to the next day or the next year or the next exciting adventure. What we have right now is what's in front of us. Wherever you are, be fully there. Be present. Be present for the people around you. Because you see, if our children are looking up to us and your mind and your heart is always in the future and so far off, we're not being present for them. If we're so stuck in the past that we can't forgive ourselves, we can't move on from mistakes we've made, we can't learn from the mistakes that we've made, then maybe our spouse, our partner, our loved ones, maybe our family is suffering because we can't move on and out, and we're sacrificing our present. Now, there's a beauty and a value of being able to step forward into the great unknown of tomorrow by being fully present today. Because just like fruit tree, seeds are planted, and it takes a while for that tree to grow to maturity. But when it does, it's a beautiful thing. When you allow your life to grow to maturity, when you allow your life to grow into those spaces beyond the great weight, well, your life will grow to a beautiful thing, provide shelter and food to many. Just like a tree planted by great waters, it's going to be able to be nurtured and nurture others. And I think that's one of the things that we can learn from what it means to wait. It isn't just a patience exercise, it's an exercise of being selfless, of understanding that there are people around you in this world that need you. And don't underestimate the hole that you would leave if your life wasn't here. Don't underestimate what the wait does in training us to be the person that we're meant to be, the people that we're meant to become. Love the wait. Learn to be in the wait. In other words, love the present. Learn to be in the present so that we can be present for those around us. Don't hate the past. Understand it. Know that you're met with mercy, that you're met with grace. Learn to forgive yourself and learn to forgive others. And don't resent the future. Don't fear the future. It's not come yet. And it is most certainly not dictated at the moment. But our actions today can affect it. I know that there's a future plan. I know that God has a plan. I know that there's a rollout of history that will come to an end in His time. But I can't get there faster. I can't wish it away. I can't wish for the great next adventure in life. But I can be here today. I can be present for those around me. I can be the man I am now, despite the man I was, and without fearing the man I will become. So while we wait, and I hope we'll wait together, let's lean on the present. Wherever we are, be fully there in the here and now.